Boom! Monday, baby, let's get it! Hello and welcome to Big Dash Knows. Big Dash knows what? New York Giants football. Let's go. We are back. Double upload day. I wasn't sure if I was going to do a recap of OTA 4 because the media wasn't in the building. They did not allow the beat writers access today. They don't have access actually to Thursday, so we got another practice tomorrow where we're solely relying on the Giants media team to put out information, to put out the highlights, to give us all the details of what went on in practice. Do I like that? I don't always like that, but today, one of those days where we got a lot of information. Wasn't a lot of clips, but we got a lot of information. They got the information out quick, too. So, number one, to start the day, the most important news of the day, outside of practice, draft pick Darius Alexander signed his contract. That means we only have one more contract to go when it comes to these draft picks, and that's Cam Scatterbo. The last guy that's unsigned. Hopefully we can get that deal done soon. Again, I believe Darius Alexander's contract, 4 years, of course, about $6.5 million, and I believe they gave $1.5 million as a signing bonus. So you know his cap hit for this year is going to be extremely low, extremely low. But that's how they do business. Also today, Tiki Barber was in the building. Tiki Barber was on the field. He addressed the team. Brian Dable introduced him. He said what he needed to say. I'm not sure what he said, but again, we don't have media access, so there's no players on at the podium talking to or addressing the beat writer. So we probably are not going to know what Tiki Barber had to say unless Tiki Barber shares it on his radio show, tomorrow or something like that. And again, the media, the beat writers don't have access till Thursday. So we got today's practice. Tomorrow's OTA 5, no media access, and then Thursday, they take the break Wednesday, and then Thursday, the beat writers will be back in the building, and then they take that next break for the next, set of OTAs. But let's talk about practice because that's what you're here for. You're here to talk about these highlights. They called it an action-packed day. That's the words that they use. My man Matt Sitok with Giants.com, he said it was an action-packed day. I'm like, cool. I want to hear about this practice and why it was so action-packed. But from what I'm reading and what I'm seeing, the offense was going off, but also the defense made some good plays too. And you love to have that balanced type of practice where everybody's making plays, but also nobody's really getting, the best of somebody else. But let's talk about some of the notes. And again, right after I recorded my video and posted it, I went right back to Twitter. And the first thing I saw was a highlight. It was a deep moon ball. The moon ball, quote unquote moon ball, to Jalen Hyatt, and I love to see it. I had just put out a video asking everybody the question if the New York Giants have enough weapons. And then to get off of that, post that, then to get back on Twitter, and the first thing I see is highlights, moon ball from Russell Wilson to Jalen Hyatt. I love it because that's one of the guys. That's one of the guys that I talked about where untapped potential, Hyatt is open. You remember the hats that I put out? And I need Hyatt to be good. I need Hyatt to turn out to be, what we thought he was going to be. I need to see it. So let's talk about practice. So the quarterbacks had a good day, strong day from the quarterbacks, even though there was 2 interceptions. I'll get into the interceptions real quick since it was only 2 of them, though. Some people say the play of the day was an interception by Dane Belton. He was able to cut a route off and then take that pass to the house. Said it would have been a touchdown. So listen. We keep saying it when it comes to Dane Belton. Always in the right place at the right time. Always getting turnovers, whether it's the regular season, whether it's practice. Dane Belton somehow, some way, always gets his hands on the ball in the interception. And the funny thing about that is, even though he makes these splashes here and there, he's never thought of as the guy or one of the guys in a safety duo. If that was the case, we would have never signed Tyler Nubin. But I digress. I don't want to get too deep into it. I just want to talk about practice. So he had the play of the day, jumped the route, pick 6. I'm assuming since Dane Belton was on the field, maybe it was Winston that threw that pass. Maybe it was Dart. We already know whenever the beat writers are not in the building, they are not telling us who threw the interceptions. They just tell us who got the interceptions. And speaking of safeties, Tyler Nubin was the other guy that got an interception today, but it was off of the deflection by Cordell Flott. So I love what I'm hearing. Obviously, Cordell Flott was on the field at the same time as Tyler Nubin. Not sure what the situation is, for that. Maybe it's just reps. Obviously, we know that Cordell Flott is the first guy to come off the bench when it comes to the cornerback position, but he got his hands to deflect the ball. Tyler Nubin got the interception. I believe he took that one to the house too. But again, it's OTA. So are we really taking things to the house, or are people, giving up on the play at the end of the day? No need to run the ball down there 50 yards when it doesn't count for points, right? Right. Okay, so next I want to talk about these quarterbacks. So, of course, everybody's talking about Jackson Dart. Jackson Dart had a strong day today. He found the tight ends. Tight ends had a strong day today too. So I'm hearing he had not a deep pass, but a 20-yard gain to Thomas Fidone. Another big game where he threaded the needle to Theo Johnson, and then also he had an acrobatic catch for Daniel Bellinger. And I'm sitting here like, okay, so all my tight ends are getting involved. I didn't hear anything about Chris Manhertz, but when we talk about this tight end room, and I believe Big Blue Kickoff Live was talking about the tight ends today. They said, was it Pete that said that we probably keep 4 tight ends for me? I'm like, man, I thought 3 tight ends since we're already keeping 3 quarterbacks. But if these guys make a case for themselves and we got 4 tight ends, 4 solid tight ends, then I'm not going to argue with that at all. But Dart had a strong day again. Russell Wilson had one of the best passes today. It was a deep moon ball, 40 yards plus to Jalen Hyde. Love to hear that. And then also Jameis Winston got involved. He had a touchdown to Eric Gray. And I believe it was another pass, but I can't quite. I'm looking at my notes. I didn't write it down, but there was also another pass that he made today. It might have been Smith Morset, or it might have been Pascal. But that's neither here or there. So the quarterbacks had a strong day today. And again, if you want to see all these notes and breakdowns, go over to Giants.com. Again, this is where I'm getting this information from and relaying it back, to you guys. So on the defensive side, they mentioned 2 guys on defense specifically. Outside of the interceptions from Belton and also Tyler Nubin, they talked about Elijah Chapman. Elijah Chapman was able to bat a pass down today. And again, we talk about short Elijah Chapman. Batting passes down, doing what it needs to take to try to make this team. Right now, he's on the bubble, in my opinion. I'm rooting for Elijah Chapman, so the more that he can make plays, the better. He also had a would-be sack today, so if he can keep doing that, fantastic. Again, no pads on today. We're really not getting physical. That stuff won't happen into training camp, but again, you like to see guys make plays. And then also, Brian Burns had 2 would-be sacks today as well. And again, you like to hear these things. Again, it's OTAs. How meaningful are the OTAs? Now, when I think about offense and you're building a connection with the quarterback and the wide receivers, it's very, very important. Even though it's OTAs, to build that type of chemistry, quarterback receivers, whether it's quarterback to the wide receiver, quarterback to the tight end, quarterback to the running backs, you need to build that chemistry, there. When it comes to the defense, again, you can't do much. Secondary, perfect time to pay attention to the secondary. But when you get into that defensive front 7 guys, we're not really running the ball. You're not really blocking for real. Nobody has shoulder pads on, so you're trying to take it easy. So you're not really getting a good gauge. But if guys can show their quickness and get to the quarterback for would-be sacks, I'll take it, because the alternative is defense can't do anything, offense can't do anything, and we look like a pile of trash. Simple as that. Simple as that. But that's going to be the quick breakdown recap of OTA Day 4. We got OTA Day 5 tomorrow, debating whether or not I recap that, depending on if it's another action-packed day of practice. If it is, then you guys will see me again. If not, we're going to wait till Thursday when the beat writers are in the building and we get all of the clips, all of the news, good, bad, and the ugly. Simple as that. But with that being said, I want to thank everybody for vibing with me. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And from one Giants fan to another, this is Big Dash Knows, Big Blue Nation. Let's go.